I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome. We are on live feed today from the council chambers. Just so you're aware. So welcome to Brian Zenz. I'm glad to have you join us. It's always a good way to spend your morning, right, everybody?
Sure is.
We've got the agenda in front of us. I know that between Commissioner Dyksleg and I, Commissioner Dyksleg does have under new business 7.2 just to review the chief's evaluation. Under old business, I have an update on the order of merit submission. And then I also thought for under new business, we should also discuss Ross Pettibone's pending retirement as well as the long-serving executive do everything for the commission that he's done forever. Okay. Any other changes or additions? Chief, we've got 4 on labor under in camera. One of them might have been.
One of them's me, my evaluation. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Commissioner Dyksleg and I did discuss it that we don't need to do in camera. We'll just do the broad summary.
Okay.
Sure.
Jennifer, yes.
We've had the room.
Oh, right.
Move, council chambers to Kinsman room.
So let's talk about that under next meeting confirmation, 10.3.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. If any other changes, I will accept the motion to accept the agenda as amended. Judy, thank you. All in favor? Sonia, you good with the agenda? Okay, we're good. Next is item 3. We've got the minutes from April 15th. Our new executive assistant, Jennifer Peterson, actually sent them out to me a couple weeks ago and I read them last night. There are a couple of amendments that we have to put in. One is there's just a spelling error on Councillor Cornick's first name that's been amended. And then the other was just on item 10, we'd had it recorded that there would be no August meeting. And in fact, there will, of course, be an August meeting, just no July meeting. Any other review of minutes? Any other changes noted?
I'll move to adopt the minutes as amended.
Thank you. Councillor Cornick has moved to adopt. All in favor? Welcome, Elaine. Presentations. Oh, see, I'm really good at following my own meeting. I have a presentation under number 4. Our illustrious and infamous and ever hardworking Chief Bloomhagen has received an award from the Alberta Association of Chiefs of Police. It's an award for outstanding service with respect to his contribution to the committee for the development of the Alberta Police Information Check Disclosure Procedures. And so I would, of course, the chief did bring it to my attention, but I would like to present it. There's no awards ceremony because of COVID. He's missing a banquet and the chance to rub shoulders with all of his many hardworking associates, but to the chief.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yay. So this will went on down after that. So good job, Chief.
Thank you.
This was a letter that was sent to you, but I'll just let Jennifer take a look at it just so she can for minutes.
Thank you.
Yay, Chief.
I'll take a copy and then give the letter to you. Thank you.
Figured it was assessment time, I should get that.
Yeah, you should get that right out there. He's probably been sitting on it in his drawer for a little while.
It comes out.
No, I just arrived by Pure the other day. That was the ceremony.
Oh, good. Okay, we will move on to reports. I am kind of hopeful that our meeting this morning will run fairly quickly. I know we've all got many things on the go. Over to you, Chief, on reports.
Alrighty, so budget actual is, should be at 32% for this time of year. We're at 27%, but of course, the first part of the year is a little hard to get a good view of where we're at. However, I did talk to finance with the city. They're preparing the Q1 report to council. And on our budget, we're actually sitting currently about $100,000 below on wages. However, as we saw in 2020, our fine revenues are still low. They are creeping up slowly, but there is potential, if things continue at the end of the year, we're going to be under budget on our fine revenues again. However, with where we are at on wages, we should be sitting all right. So no huge alarms or red flags at this time. We're actually sitting in a good position for this time of the year. Moving on, just operational activities. You may have seen a press release on our website or in the media. Alert actually sent out a provincial press release, and we had a file that I think I've referenced that we were working with Alert on an investigation, and on or a few weeks ago, our members and Alert executed a search warrant at 61 Emily, and this has been about a 6-month investigation to date, but we recovered drugs, guns, and some cash. No charge has been laid at this point because we're still getting analysis on some of the drugs, which we suspect is fentanyl, but that was a fairly significant investigation, and with some good results and good cooperation between the service and Alert. On that, just our partnership with Alert, when we did the warrant, instead of using a few of our resources, which we did do, we also had 10 members of the Alert team to come in and assist. So resource-wise, it was very beneficial to have them. The start of the month, we swore in Constable Raylene Austin. So she is in her field training phase for the next few months. Constable Copan is actually finishing his field training and will be flying solo here in the next little while. In leadership activities, I believe I reported to you earlier that Brendan Vaughn has been doing KPIs or key performance indicators for the city, but she's been working with me as well, and we've been reviewing this. She should be finalizing her document on key performance indicators that we can work into our strategic plan within the next month or so. Actually, Diane, I think you're probably more up to speed as to where Brenda's at, but I think we're into our final draft and meetings with Brenda to finalize some of those reports, and I'll present those to you, or probably have Brenda bring them to the commission once her work is done. I reported last month that we did receive a human rights complaint. I've responded to that complaint, sent it back to the Human Rights Commission, and we're awaiting further information from the commission on whether they're going to follow up with that complaint or dismiss it. facilities go, we had our air conditioner chillers fail. I guess they probably haven't been working properly since we moved into the building, but it cost us $8,000 in repairs, but that work has been done. And those are the highlights in my report. We're getting into other areas of the agenda, unless anyone has questions.
I have a question, Chief. Traffic safety, just thinking about the fine revenues and things like that. Now that we've got the designated traffic safety position, how is that been moving along? Are you satisfied with it, or how is it going?
I think it's working fairly well, and Brian, you can probably chime in on this conversation, but Brian oversees Constable Matthews in the traffic position. We have had to put Constable Matthews in a patrol function a couple of times, but overall, he's been doing some good work and coming up with various initiatives. He's had a pretty strong focus on distracted driving type offenses and anything collision related, but he's actually with the distracted driving, speeding, and some of the stop sign violations, red lights. His focus has been on those collision reduction initiatives. So far, I think it's going quite well. And with our lack of resources, we have held him in his traffic role as much as possible. So I'm trying not to disrupt him. Brian?
He was able to also assist with our annual report when it came to the traffic report for the year. So that was part of his responsibility in January. To date, when it just comes strictly to numbers, he has written over 300 tickets since the beginning of the year, which outweighs, I think, a lot of what the members are producing as a whole. So he's had over 310 violation tickets written since January 1st.
Any other questions arriving then for the Chief's report? We'll move on. SRO report is next in our package material. It looks like Constable Glenzie has been still quite active, just visually, and sometimes the blanks might be no news is good news. Interesting on the related charges for allowing minors to consume cannabis. So kind of paying attention to what's going on socially within the school and what's going on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the only thing I have to add to his report, because it wouldn't form part of his report, but in relation to the SRO role, we did do a selection process for the SRO moving into the fall, the 2021-2022 season. And we met with Wolf Creek School Division and a few of the principals, and Michelle Wilzer will be moving into that role in September. But between now and September, we've aligned her to work, her and Ruben to work similar shifts so that she can spend some time on her day shifts in the schools shadowing Ruben. We aligned a threat assessment course for the fall for her, and Ruben is going to be teaching her the Safe in Six program so that right off the hop she can start working on those programs. So we look forward to her going into that role, and because we've started the transition early, hopefully she's in a good position to hit the ground running once September school year starts.
Any thoughts or questions on the SRO report? Diane, just so you know, I've got you on a really small screen on my screen. So if you ever want to say anything, please jump in because I won't be able to see you.
That's okay. I'll make a big motion if I do.
Perfect, I can see that, that's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so next, 5.2 is our budget report. So we do have our actual versus budget in our package. As the chief indicated in his summary report, our expenses are definitely in good shape compared to where we expected to be. Wages are low, and again, I know that the chief is, you know, being cautious with them. We've definitely had some struggles with keeping full teams in place, but it has added a little bit of benefit to us. Revenue is a little concerning to me, but of course, there's just so much stuff that we just don't have any control of when the money hits our budget. Ruben, did you have a list there or no?
Well, no, but I do have a question, but I was just waiting.
Perfect, all yours.
Just on other professional, we're almost at the max there, but is that typical of what, I don't have the detailed breakdown of what other professional is?
That's
So-
on the expense side.
Yeah, so that could very well be that that's normal because there are certain things that contracts who are expending there.
Yeah, the other professional services, what we had there was, as we reported a while back, we never used to pay for DNA services to the province. I thought the billing on that was going to be per sample that we sent, but what the province did was they just averaged out per agency a cost formula. So we received a $18,000 bill for DNA services for the year, and that's probably what it will be annually for DNA lab services. I guess they'll be monitoring how many DNA lab requests we send in, and that number might change, but so that bill came in and got paid, so that's why that one depleted so quickly.
So there shouldn't be, so the 21,000 will cover what's left in other professional, like the $3,000 or whatever?
We're hoping that's the
Pending
case.
the crimes that we face in the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was just one of the point items that when you
Yeah.
get close to max out in the first quarter already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had it budgeted 18,000 for that. It was actually slightly higher. So in the other areas, hopefully, at this time of the year, it's a good indicator that everything's on budget on that line. So
Our legal fees are actually kind of low considering what we've had to deal with so far this year.
right. Yeah, so our bylaw fees for bylaw prosecutions are low. Of course, the
Okay.
courts haven't been in, so we haven't been paying those types of fees. So
I was thinking a little bit more about the civil claims and the QB action as whether,
well, with our civil claims and QB action, that all went through insurance.
okay.
So insurance has picked up all of those costs so far, so it hasn't had a negative impact on our budget.
Any further questions? Just on budget, anything that's caught your eye, everybody? Excellent, thanks, Chief. Public complaint director report. We have a quick report from Mr. Perez, just indicating no complaints, so everybody's keeping low, and obviously our service must be doing a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
My report came late. It wasn't a very busy month, other than the whole group of us did spend a quite full day at the police station attending the AAPG annual meeting and annual conference. It was, I think, quite an informative conference. I think some of the we had a bit of a discussion afterwards that probably for Commissioner Luke and Dyslag and I, some of the initial information about just how things were set up were we're good with that now, that it was old news, but I think it's still really a good way to get through, and some really excellent presentations. So we're very glad and thankful we could attend, and our budget doesn't mind that we didn't have to go down to Brooks and spend the weekend. Maybe a lot less social, but. And then met with the chief, just, the chief and I meet once a month, about a week before our meeting, just to review what's going on and assess the agenda. It's not a formal report day for you, Judy, but I know you've had some things that you've been up to on vice chair.
Not too much. At my home front, just attended the AAPG, and thank you to all the people that, all the commissioners that did sign up, and thank you to the chief for organizing a nice little room and all of the equipment for us to see it on screen. Thank you to Corey for ordering us a delicious meal and keeping us fed. And yes, it was a great conference, but definitely different online, but appreciate everything from everybody's contribution.
And Councillor Koenig, a lot of words in there.
Well, Mr. Ross used to do my reports, and now Jennifer does, and she's done a wonderful job. So. No, that's all. It's there if anyone has any.
What is the municipal stimulus program?
Oh, that's the funding that we've gotten from the provincial government to, as a result of COVID, to try and generate work within your community. It's usually capital projects. So it was just an extra bonus cash. We got like 1 point, I don't have the exact number, 1.2 or something like that. But anyways, so part of that work will be Highway 12, upgrading Highway 12, a little bit of sections that we haven't done. Some part is going to a new snow dump, and anyways, so that's what that is.
And then the city hall renovations will be a foreshadowing of our meeting agenda later down our stuff. Any questions on reports?
I just have, Councillor Koenig, the responsible alcohol consumption in parks goes ahead on May 25th.
That's right.
I don't know whether the commission's aware of that item, but it was a notice of motion that came from a councillor to open up some of the public parks within Lacombe for alcohol consumption. I believe that is only during COVID. Or Diane shaking her head.
No, it's
Originally it was, I think when it involves in Edmonton, it was related to COVID, but from Diane's expression, I'm thinking that that would be long-standing. So we have been involved in some discussions with city administration on that item, going back to council, but we will continue to be actively engaged in that particular item.
Yeah, it'll be fairly limited. When we say parks, there's not very many where that can actually take place. That sort of alcohol consumption. We thought maybe music in the park might be a nice place where people might want to bevy. But anyways, it won't be it's not like you can go to a playground and drink alcohol. It's very limited in scope. And I think it was something actually that the Premier had launched into, allowing drinking in parks, provincial parks that didn't occur. That's where it started. Like it was a few years ago already. And then I think municipalities have just taken, some municipalities, I know Edmonton changed it where they started to allow, like in Howard Park, where you could actually, but this is, I don't think it's got nothing really to do with COVID. It's just something that, because our Premier did this a few years ago already, that others have just started to jump on that bandwagon.
No, Calgary has been, I think they have that before council as well.
Yeah.
The parks. Do you want any thoughts or do you want to share, Diane? Oh, I see your wave.
Thank you, Chair Gish. Yes, no, I'm actually the one preparing the memo for council for Monday as well, and done a lot of the research on this, and it is definitely an initiative that the province has put forward prior to COVID. It actually was part of a bill that was going the February before we went into all the lockdown in 2020. So this isn't just a COVID initiative. The province did allow, it's very specific to picnic areas. That is in the act of the AGLC Act there. It is very specific to picnic areas. So we have identified 5 different areas that are within the city that really do translate to more that picnic style. So the areas that are being suggested by administration is like the Len Thompson Fishing Pond, Les Walker Park down on the south end of Michener there. Some areas between some ball diamonds where the concession is over in Michener. And then, as Councillor Connick said, lest we forget Park in front of the LMC for music in the park, and then a picnic area by Crana Lake, and that's one for discussion, I think. But yeah, they are being suggested, and it is going to council on the 25th here on Tuesday.
So from a policing perspective, in principle, we don't really have any issues with the concept of having a glass of wine or a beer with your picnic meal in specific locations, and designated hours, I believe, are also attached to the proposal. But we still have some concerns as far as, even though the intention is for those family picnic groups, if we have a number of individuals that find a place to congregate and bring their keg of beer, there may be some hiccups. So going in eyes wide open, Brian was involved in the last meeting, voiced some concerns on some of those peripheral issues that we have observed in the past or that we have concerns. So that feedback has been provided to council or to the committee, which will go to council. So we will see what council decides after hearing the presentation and seeing Diane's report.
Excellent. Anything further on the reports? Accept a motion to accept reports.
I can make that motion.
Ruben, thank you. All in favor? All unanimous, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 6, old business. Just as part of our regular process, we always check our annual work plan, which is in your agenda. As I take a peek, definitely chief review is there. Coming up for June, we've got commencing review of the human resource plan and the budget, and we tend to take a look at that budget and human resource plan hand in hand. And then next June, if you think to, we usually hand in our binders for updates. So that will be something that we'll have to coordinate, either probably dropping them off at City Hall so that Jennifer can go through them. Now, Jennifer, on that note, Ross is gone on the 4th. Do you want us to hand them in early? I don't know that it's.
Actually, Ross is gone at the end of next week. He'll be on holidays until
Okay.
June 4th. So
Okay.
if you want to, he's given me templates of the old binders and shown me that, but if you want to drop one off, I can go over with him.
If you want one, I can bring one, but
Sure.
okay, I'll bring mine.
And then it just gives me some time to go through with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
Any thoughts on review, any concerns about just our tracking for the work that we need to be doing today? All right, we'll move on to 6.2. The chief will have some upgrades for us, especially radio communication systems.
Yeah, so I reported last month and Commission endorsed moving forward with upgrades to our AFRAX radio console system for our dispatch center. So we have been working with a couple of different companies, receiving quotes on those systems. Initially with one company, I presented that potentially it would be around $97,000 cost. We figured that price would come down. With that company, the price actually went up substantially, but with the second company, the cost was significantly lower than $97,000. So we're assessing those quotes. We've met with IT to review them, and we're meeting with one of the companies next week to ensure that all our needs are covered and that the price is not going to change on us as we move forward. So once we have that meeting, we've been in conversation with AFRAX to make sure that all the equipment is meet their policies and would gain their approvals at the end of the day. So that $67,000 was not part of spring adjustments, which is under 6.3 or 97,000. So the funds for that system will come out of our operational reserve, but we should be, if we can get those costs down to the $70,000 mark, then that would still leave about $100,000 in our operational reserves moving forward. So once I get some hard figures, I will report back to you. So by next month, we should be well on our way with that initiative. But that's that on that item.
So I think from our point of view as a commission, you know, we've tasked ourselves with encouragement of the city to create our operational reserves and have done so. So of course, being responsible for the budget, our concern is how do we know or not know when we need to spend $97,000? So I think that maybe just a quick reminder from the chief on that topic will be helpful to us as a commission. Lucky you. How did, like, so you knew that this was coming, it came faster or it came higher?
No, actually, we didn't know this was coming.
Yeah,
when
okay.
we set our budget. Also with this equipment, it wasn't included in our replacement schedule with IT. So as we expanded, this became more of a requirement to continue providing services to others and increase our revenues in our initiative for CPO monitoring and potentially expand into other areas of dispatch. So this was somewhat unexpected. However, needed moving forward, and we would have had to replace our systems. We're coming up on the 5-year mark for those systems and they're due for replacement. So a little bit of unexpected, a little bit of unplanned. Moving forward, the replacement costs for the system will be included in our IT replacement. So,
and you know, as the chief had said, we've had a full discussion and approval of this at the last meeting. I just thought it was worth just a quick, we all live a lot of life between meetings, so just worth a quick reminder that as a commission, we were aware of what was going on and had supported the chief in this move.
And this brings us fully compliant with the CRAP standards and rules that we have to follow. So it puts us in a good position moving forward.
To access the 9/11 funding too, right? Correct?
Yes, and that was another piece. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Is as we move forward with the 911 secondary PSAT funding that we will be eligible for in 2022, starting in 2021, we won't see any funds till 2022. It allows us to become part of that association and compliant with their rules and regulation to receive funds that we'll discuss more in our budget planning moving to 2022, but the grant funding from that will more than cover the costs of even this initial purchase. So after this one is done, that'll be pretty much straight revenue.
So I think from a commission's point of view, it is just encouraging us to maintain that operational reserve so that we can take these advantages without having to try to explain being in a deficit position to council. So thank you very much, Chief, for your foresight and your attention to this. Anything, if there's nothing further on item 6.2, we'll move on to item 6.3, which is the spring adjustments. So that's going to council on Monday to complete, or did it go and get complete? Diane, I kind of lose track.
All of the spring adjustments have been finalized. So everything went through. Council had very few questions, but they approved all of the spring adjustments.
And the spring adjustments actually went through IT, but they were for us. So specific to us was the server upgrade, the funds for the additional funds for the upgrade that weren't budgeted for in the IT realm of the budget were approved, and then the Eventide recorder system that actually ties into this AFRAX upgrade. Those funds were approved as well.
They were.
However, with that one, we may not use all of those funds, but any unused portion will go into the IT reserves for the replacement of that system when required. So those funds should be in place if we have another crash of that system.
That's exactly it, and those funds were approved just in the event that the repairs don't last for the next few years. So if we need to have more replacements or upgrades and such, there's some extra funds in there for that.
Thanks for your work on that, Diane.
You're very welcome.
So we added item 6.4. Some time ago, the commission made an application to nominate Chief Bloomhagen for a National Order of Merit Award out of the Governor General's office. We talked about this maybe after the last meeting, and because we haven't heard anything from them, and I reached out, and apparently without a Governor General, no decisions can be made and no award can be issued. So the award is still on the table and it's still in process, and we will hear in due course. So just update the commission on that, and the chief, just in case you're wondering, it wasn't a secret that we made that nomination on your behalf, and we're pretty excited to see what the result will be.
Thanks.
All right, if no other questions on old business, any thoughts, we'll move on to new business, which gets us to item 7.1, which is the probation office rental agreement extension. They've decided they want to stay, Chief, so you guys have agreed that they can stay? Yeah, so the initial 5-year agreement for rental space expired. So Alberta Infrastructure got a hold of me to discuss renewal of that. Initially, they just wanted to renew for 2 years with a 30-day out clause. So I negotiated with them another 5-year agreement, keeping the same rates, but securing a 5-year. And then after 2 years, either party can exercise a 6-month out clause if something was to change in government or for us that we needed the space. So that new agreement is being drafted by Alberta Infrastructure, and I'll sign off on that when it comes in. But they feel that there won't be any issue with fulfilling the full 5 years of that agreement. So we will have probation in our office and receiving those revenues. Those revenues are only around $10,000 per year, but it's
nice to get some revenues for the small space that they are renting.
And a good partnership, you said too.
It's an excellent partnership with having the probation officers right in our office. The communication's great. We get updated probation lists. We follow up on various individuals that need some extra attention that may or may not be following their probation conditions. So it's a really good relationship.
Item 7.2 then, as you will have noticed, Commissioner Dykeslag yet again organized a very efficient survey to set up the chief's evaluation from commission members, and has also gotten the chief to do his self-assessment. And as a result of that, has compiled a report, or a letter of report on behalf of the commission. Can I leave that to you, Sonia, to take the floor on this?
You bet. Thank you. So I don't have presentation mode in Teams where I'm from because I don't have it here sitting on this board. So I'll just go over a few things. What I will do is I will share with all commission members the result of the survey that commission members completed, and I'll share it with the chief. But today I'm just going to present the letter that is the culmination of the feedback. So this every other year, we just do a survey within the commission. On the alternating years, we also interview staff members and do a more deep dive into the feedback on the chief's performance. This year was just, as I said, the survey that I sent out to every commission member and to the chief. The chief completed his self-assessment, and it was very much in line with the results from the commissioners. And the results are very positive once again. So I'd like to report that the results of the performance assessment identified strongly that Chief Blumhagen is a competent, professional, and visionary leader. The commission scored the chief strongly in all the competency areas under leadership, decision-making, effective communication, managing and fostering relationships, financial management, and public safety. Areas of particular strength noticed by commission members was the chief's clear vision for the service, his strong decision-making skills, and a commitment to make financial decisions that respect and represent the strategic plan and the objectives that we've developed as a commission. Areas for continued growth identified not only by the chief but also commission members are in areas of delegation and continued communication with the city regarding budget, and also continue to just focusing on building those positive community relationships. It is our pleasure to have this, and our honor to have the chief have such a great result in his evaluation. And we just want to, continue to thank him for his work. And we're just very fortunate to have such a fine leader, and appreciate everything that he's doing for the Lacombe Police Service and the citizens of Lacombe. So that letter will be sent by Commissioner, our Chair Gish, to the chief, and then some more details will be reviewed with the commissioner or with the chair and the chief with the raw data, the results, so the chief has the exact results on every single question in the survey. And that's basically our report. Congratulations, Chief. Keep up the great work.
Great, thank you. And I'm sure Brian's happy to hear he's going to get more work. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Sonia, for continuing to organize that. It's a very important task for us, and we appreciate you taking on that responsibility.
Well, the chief makes it easier when he continues to perform so well. So if he wasn't performing so well, this would be a harder job. So keep up the good work.
Then we
Yes,
go in
thank you,
camera.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Connick.
And then just my apologies to Sonia, I never did the survey because I could not sign into it.
Oh, really?
I could not. I think it's an IT thing on my end and I never got it sorted. And it's too bad because I was really going to let the chief have it this year, but anyway.
That's why I blocked you.
Anyways.
But Councillor Connick him and I did have communication via email. I asked him to just give some feedback that I could incorporate into the letter and into the results. So we certainly still did communicate about his observations of the chief's performance.
Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, so item 7.3 that I added to the agenda was just to have the commission give some thought to Ross Pettibone's retirement. So as our new, what would you like to be called? Executive assistant, admin assistant? I think secretary is a little bit underwhelming for the role that you play with this commission, Jennifer.
I just took on the same title as what Ross identified as secretary, and I am fine with that.
Okay, general backbone and can't live without support. That would be the long term. So I think what we need to do as a commission is just formally, I think in this meeting, just recognize for the record, just what a fantastic contribution that Mr. Pettibone has made to this commission. How grateful we are to the city for lending us his support throughout these years, and also our continued support from the city through having Jennifer Peterson take Mr. Pettibone's place. It's administratively behind the scenes when they're working with new commission members who need to be taught over and over again, and all of the legislative parameters and needs that we have to meet. It's just so vital to have that excellent support. So just to make a formal note on behalf of myself, but I think I speak for the commission, just to formally thank Ross for his work. Informally though, I would like us to take a look at doing some sort of a recognition package. Any commission members might want to take the lead on getting that organized. I think, of course, a card at the very least. I know the chief has some recognition that he can pull together as well.
Mhm. And if there's a plaque or gift or something, we do have money's budgeted for retirement or appreciation.
So I'd like to be able to delegate this to someone to take on, please.
Well, I can look after it if no one else wants to.
Thank you, Ruben. That would be really fantastic.
Yeah, so you want me just to?
If you can just coordinate a card and getting signatures and maybe just give some thought to just, I think working with the chief, I think at least a nice something commemorative would be in order.
Do we want to do like a gift card or anything, or no, or just?
Sure. I think it's wide open. I think maybe do we approve maybe a budget of about $150?
Yeah, I don't know.
Would that be sufficient? All right. I don't know if you need a motion because you do have the budget item for retirement. That just gives you a guideline. Thank you. All right, any other thoughts?
And I know where he lives, so I can just, we're not in a.
No.
We have to do it.
No, there's no hurry. The official date is June, but I just think that.
Yeah, I'll get it to him. We'll get something.
Okay. We could always, but with COVID, we can't even just invite him to the next meeting for a presentation, I don't think. I think we'll just do something behind the scenes.
And I guess that can be, we don't know what the city's doing either. So if we kind of coordinated that, I don't know, Jen, you kind of might be in the know on the city side.
I'll follow up with Denise on that because she's taking his role with the city. So stepping into that role with the city. So we'll follow up with her on what they're going to do and see if I'll get a date to you. Get an idea to you with the chief.
This is still just from the commission, so I don't know if we have to really.
Just don't want to buy them the same.
Oh, I get you.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'll follow up with Denise and get back to you then. Okay.
All right. So our agenda item, we have our meeting calendar and we've got standing items as meeting confirmations. I think 8.1 can be struck. I think that might have been when we were looking to remove the August meeting. And we have put the August meeting back in. So which takes us to the in-camera portion of our agenda. So we do need a motion to go in camera. Unless Diane, do you have anything else you want to add to this meeting before we move on?
The only thing I would like to discuss with the commission is when you are discussing the move from council chambers to the Kinsman room.
Okay.
I am heading up the renovation project for the city, so the Kinsman room will be in place until at least October 18th.
Okay, so let's move to item 10.3 in the agenda, which will be exactly this. Diane, go ahead then.
Sorry. Yeah, so the plan is for the council chambers to be out of commission from June 1st until October 18th, with the unveiling of the new chambers to correlate when the new council starts after the election. So I guess plan to be out of this room specifically until at least the end of October.
Your next meeting is October 21st, so
Okay.
the meeting in October is.
So October 21st will be the meeting back in the renovated council chambers pending further information.
Absolutely.
So what I understand then from yourself, Diane and Jennifer, is that the Kinsman room at the LMC has been reserved for us for meetings, that the whole council infrastructure and electronics will be available to us there. So what we should do is plan to move our meetings there. I think we've all found that the city's electronic meeting facilities are more successful for all of us than the ones at the station.
I was going to say that recently we had an internet upgrade with our office. I think I'm going to ask this to Matt, but that's completed, isn't it, for the high-speed internet and the connections and everything at the police station, or is that?
To my knowledge, yes, that is.
Yeah, and the commission used that equipment for the APG conference.
Okay.
I don't know if you had any issues or whether it worked much better than our previous experience. So we could still use the police station with those changes to our internet speed and downloads and everything like that, that it may work much better than your previous experiences. And if it was working well at the APG, then I would say that it remain as an option. If we needed to use one or the other.
I suppose it's a lot more efficient for the chief if we're actually at the station for this meeting as well. So if it's the same infrastructure, any other thoughts on that or preferences?
I think we could probably try it and see. It can't hurt to try one at the station and see what the sound quality would be like.
We could try it for June, and if it doesn't work, switch it thereafter.
Okay, so we'll plan our next meeting for June then at the station. And on item 10.3, it's June 17th will be our meeting at the police station. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you, you guys. You guys have a good day, and I'll take my leave now.
All right, super.
Bye-bye.
Sergeant Zanz, any parting thoughts?
Actually,
Or is he going to
I'm
stay
okay
in
if
camera?
Brian stays in for the in-camera stuff because he's been involved in the discussions and is aware of everything I'll be discussing and might catch anything that I might miss.
Okay, perfect. Let's move in camera then, please. Would someone make a motion? Ruben, thank you. Yeah, the guy in the room gets to make all the motions. All in favor?